Welcome into the second video of the day here on Victory Monday on Steelers Talk. And today I'm going to be breaking down my 8 takeaways outside of the quarterback position because we talked quarterbacks earlier. We will talk about Justin Fields a little bit on today's show, but just 8 general takeaways after watching the film from this week's win versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Can't wait to address them with you right here on the show. And also, guys, make sure you're watching out for a potential Davante Adams trade this week. I do think whenever Davante ends up getting traded, it's going to be early in a week, either Monday or Tuesday. So watch out for the next about 24 to 48 hours here, whether or not he could be dealt to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if Omar Khan is able to land Davante and he becomes a Pittsburgh Steeler this week, we're going to have wall-to-wall breaking news coverage. We're going to go live. We're going to be partying it up. So don't miss it, man. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button and go get it done, Omar. Okay, so my Week 6 takeaways here. So let's start with the offensive line, which did take a step down this week because obviously Zach Frazier got hurt, and just the overall film wasn't quite as good, especially from a pass protection standpoint, as it was in previous weeks. Now, generally speaking, and we'll go into the general PFF grades here in just a second. It's been pretty good for Pittsburgh outside of Broderick Jones. But you look at the Week 6 grades, and everybody on this offensive line kind of took a step down from where they're usually at. Except for Mason McCormick, the right guard, all right? Even Zach Frazier, who has been awesome so far this season, finished with only a 70.1 PFF grade this week. So it was his worst week of his NFL career to this point, but he's been stellar, and 70.1 is far from a bad performance. But Dan Moore Jr., who has been extremely solid for the Steelers so far this year, dipped all the way down to a 56.4. He had a couple really bad pressures given up. Isaac Seumalo had a little bit of an off day as well with a 61.9 grade. Ryan McCollum came in, played okay, I guess, with a 60.4, but that's definitely not going to get the job done. Then holy crap, man, Broderick Jones, a 49.4, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit here because he's been absolutely terrible. And unfortunately, in some injury news here for the Steelers, Zach Frazier is considered week to week with an ankle injury. It was just reported by Jordan Schultz here, saying, source, Steelers rookie starting center Zach Frazier suffered an ankle injury on Sunday against the Raiders and is considered week to week. There's no structural damage, so that's good news. Frazier has started all 6 games this season and has posted an impressive 82.2 PFF grade. And then also outside of the Frazier injury, Broderick Jones has just been absolute dog crap, all right? Let's just call it what it is. He has been awful on the right side of the offensive line. Now, a lot of people I know are going to say, well, he should be playing on the left side. He's a natural left tackle, and that's all fine and well. But right now, after the Troy Fautano injury here, he's going to be your right tackle for the rest of the season. I don't think the Steelers are going to be replacing him. And you look at his pass block grade this week going up against Max Crosby. What? I don't know if I've ever seen a PFF grade this low ever. 24.7 pass block grade? Are you freaking joking me, Broderick Jones? You can't do better than this. I mean, we've seen the film. You guys have probably seen some of the lowlights on Twitter this week or in the last 24 hours. There were some bad reps from Broderick Jones on film in this Week 6 performance, and he's been bad all season long, but this was a whole nother level for Broderick Jones going up against a really good pass rusher in Max Crosby. Another takeaway I had here, and let's talk a little bit about the offensive line here, because I keep hearing that the Steelers' offensive line can't protect the quarterback and that they suck and that, Russell Wilson can't survive behind this terrible offensive line. But honestly, guys, I think that Justin Fields has at least some role to play in terms of the pressure rate that the Steelers have right now. They currently have the 6th highest pressure rate in the National Football League. And to be clear here, I do think Justin Fields has the skill set to make some plays under pressure and elevate the offense with his legs, with an ability to make plays outside of the pocket, all these different things. I do think that skill set exists with Justin Fields, and we saw that in this Week 6 matchup versus the Las Vegas Raiders, where he scrambled for a number of big plays with his legs. He made a couple big-time runs and also a couple of big-time throws outside of structure as well. However, the mental processor is still slow. The vision is still spotty for Justin Fields on film. All right, if it was something else and he was dealing out there, I'd be telling you something different. But right now, he has the 4th highest average time to throw in the National Football League. Okay, and a trend that I've noticed when it just comes to how fans interact with their quarterbacks. All right, and we saw this with Kenny Pickett, who had terrible pocket presence. All right, if you have a quarterback with bad pocket presence, usually the fans blame it on the offensive line because what they see is a quarterback being pressured. But like the best quarterbacks in the world, like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys with great pocket presence, Tom Brady back in the day, they can move and shift in the pocket and manipulate it, and they can feel that pressure to give themselves more time, whereas people like Kenny Pickett and Justin Fields, who aren't quite as good with the pocket presence stuff, the pressure gets to them more easily because they're not feeling that pressure. They're not shifting in the pocket the way that they're supposed to, and the pressure that does get to them gets to them more quickly, and they don't buy enough time. And the truth of the matter, when you watch the film, when you look at the numbers here, the offensive line has actually been pretty darn good as a whole this season. Now, this week was a bit of a step down in terms of pass protection, but you look at the overall Pro Football Focus grades of the starters of this current offensive line, it's actually been pretty decent, guys. Dan Moore Jr., 72.2 grade. That's way more than, in the top half of offensive tackles in the league this year. And by the way, the pass blocking grade for Dan Moore Jr. is even higher than that overall grade. Isaac Seumalo is ranking 15th among 75 guards in the league right now. Zach Frazier is one of the top 5 centers in football right now. So whenever he gets back, you know that he's going to be a great player for you. Mason McCormick has been just fine in his first couple games in the National Football League. And then we talked about Broderick Jones. I mean, Broderick freaking stinks, but everybody else has actually done a pretty good job. And actually, man, right now, Russell Wilson actually had a higher pressure rate than Justin Fields has had so far this year, and Russ and Fields put up similar numbers in their, compared from Russ to 2023 and Justin Fields and what he's putting up in these first 6 weeks. So I do think Justin does have a little bit of a role to play here in terms of the pressure that's getting to him. And also, I know people are probably going to say, oh, Justin doesn't have enough weapons to work with here. The reason why he's holding onto the ball for too long is because he doesn't have enough weapons to throw to. And I'm just going to call cap on this a little bit, guys. Now, I know that it's not the most, explosive wide receiver room in the National Football League here, guys. I understand that. And the Steelers do need to go out and trade for another receiving piece. But right now, he does have 3 relatively reliable receiving options on this team for him to utilize. George Pickens, we know how talented he is. He has had some really stupid drops, but he's still a really high-caliber player. Calvin Austin III has actually been awesome as a route runner on film this year. He's getting open all the time, and Fields and Arthur Smith just aren't prioritizing getting him the football. He had a couple nice catches yesterday, thank God. And then Pat Freiermuth is somebody that's been getting reliably open in the short area of the field as well. So it's not like Fields doesn't have options to throw to, man. You've got 3 legitimate options here, plus you've got Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Both are capable check down options as running backs as well. So it's not like Fields has nobody to throw to like I've been seeing on Steelers Twitter lately. That's just not true whatsoever. However, to be clear, Pittsburgh absolutely does need another wide receiver. Go get Devontae Adams. Go get DeAndre Hopkins. Go get somebody else to really complete this collection of weapons here in Pittsburgh. And by the way, use Calvin Austin III more. That guy can run like a mother effer. All right, now fill in the blank for me down there in the comments section. Justin Fields has been a top blank quarterback in the NFL to start this season. Has he been top 10? Has he been top 15? Is he overrated? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Another takeaway here, going away from the passing game here. Najee Harris had his best game as a pro in the National Football League this past weekend. He looked like a legitimate star running back in this league with that performance against the Las Vegas Raiders, because like we talked about, the offensive line actually wasn't fantastic in this football game in terms of the grading, in terms of the film, but Najee Harris was making guys miss. He was fighting for extra yards. His vision was excellent, and you look at the average yards per carry for him, it was over 7 yards per carry, when before this game, he was sitting at about 3.5, all right? So this was not the Najee Harris that we have been accustomed to seeing throughout his career, and honestly, man, it was awesome. I have never seen Najee make guys miss the way he was making guys miss yesterday. He was playing with his hair on fire, and he made some of the best runs I've seen from any running back in the National Football League this year. However, he does need to do it more consistently, all right? It's like, great, Najee, you had one great performance. Now let's see if you can do it time and time and time again, or at least more consistently than we've seen it from him, because this was really his first true standout performance really, if we're being honest, in his entire NFL career. All right, there's been other games where he's been pretty darn good, but not as good as he looked yesterday. So I'm hoping that this wasn't just a one-off. I'm hoping that he comes out the rest of the season, plays just like he did against Las Vegas, because if he does, the Steelers' run game is back and with a vengeance. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, more Week 6 takeaways after my film study from this Week 6 matchup versus the Las Vegas Raiders. But before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area, wherever you guys live. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, whether it be college or pro, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. Whether you want to go see the Pitt Panthers play at Acrisure Stadium this year, or the Pitt Panthers are undefeated right now, man, they're playing great football, or if you want to go see the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at 4-2, man, we know how crazy Acrisure gets on Steelers game days. If you want to go see more football games live this year, you guys can download the Game Time Picks, or you guys can download the free Game Time app and use their brand new feature, Game Time Picks, to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can save hours of research finding the best tickets with Game Time Picks, as it uses its AI analytics to find the best tickets at the best prices, and all at the click of one button. What I love about using the Game Time app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the free Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, at the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account with Game Time and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Listen, man, I don't know if people really understand this or not, but Captain Cam Heyward, after kind of a down season last year, he was playing with an injured groin. He gets it surgically repaired this offseason. There's a lot of question marks surrounding Captain Cam heading into the year. The dude has been balling out. Okay, this guy has been absolutely unbelievable. He currently holds the highest Pro Football Focus grade of any interior defensive lineman in football. All right, this is somebody that people were calling washed. People were saying that he was done, that we should get rid of him. Cam Heyward has come out and completely shown those guys wrong. And just in incredible fashion. 25 tackles in 6 weeks, 3 sacks as an interior pass rusher, 4 tackles for loss. This guy is an impact player week in and week out. And yesterday versus the Raiders, oh my goodness, he made Andre James his freaking bitch. All right, plain and simply, this guy dominated the game. He had one of the highest grades of any defender in football this past weekend, and it's resulted now in the top PFF grade of any interior lineman in the game. Good for Captain Cam. He's been absolutely unbelievable to start this season. Then speaking of really, really good performances, Patrick Queen had his best game as a Steeler so far. He's been a little bit quiet to start his Steelers career. It looked like he was kind of playing, maybe a little bit hesitant in the first couple of weeks, still kind of getting acclimated to this new system here in Pittsburgh. But yesterday, man, he had 13 tackles and a tackle for loss, man, and you could really see the sideline-to-sideline speed really show itself for the first time in a major way this season. Before, Patrick would kind of make sure he's in the right spot, not be too aggressive, not over-pursue, all these different things. Yesterday, he just played with a vengeance. He played with his hair on fire, and it led to really good results for Patrick Queen and the Steelers' defense. He was awesome in the middle for the Steelers' defense this weekend. Then, speaking of really good performances on defense, I mean, there was quite a few yesterday, not to mention T.J. Watt, who's not on this list, but I think we all understand how special T.J. Watt is. But Deshaun Elliott just continues to shine, making open field tackles, getting tackles for losses, making big-time tackles in space. Deshaun Elliott just seems to make a big play or 2 or 3 every single week. He's always around the football. He's been pretty decent in coverage, and he's been a really, really solid tackler for this Steelers defense this year, so kudos to the Joker for yet another solid performance. And now, here's another question. Okay, we're gonna blame Mike Tomlin, and we're gonna rip him a new one on Steelers Twitter for the last 2 weeks for the losses that they take. To get any credit for going on the road here and taking down a road opponent here by 19 points, does he get any credit for that? Now, I think that it should go both ways. Now, it's either you put, for all the people that put all the blame on Mike Tomlin for these losses, they got to give him all the credit for whenever he wins these games, too. Now, I think it's a more nuanced conversation than that, right? Mike's not playing the games for the Steelers and the players on the field. But man, it definitely looked like after that first drive on defense, the Steelers defense really tightened up. It really looked like that they were able to make the proper adjustments to really dominate that football game, force turnovers, do the things that they needed to do to win. And honestly, man, I thought that it was a relatively well-coached game by the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, and it ended up with a 19-point victory on the road in Sin City. And speaking of the point differential here, talking about 19 points here in Week 6, overall for this season, the point differential for the Steelers is plus 38. That currently ranks the highest in the AFC for any team. Now, obviously, there's Monday Night Football tonight. Maybe the Bills figure something out to just cream the Jets or something like that, and they end up being the highest in the conference. But right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at 4-2 with the highest point differential in the league, and you can thank that to the best defense in the National Football League. All right, guys, that'll be it for me today. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if breaking news happens with Devontae Adams or any other trade that happens, we're going to have breaking news coverage for you guys, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button. And until tomorrow, here we go, Steelers.